Hiya! Just wanted to have a cup of tea, and for beginner crocheters, we're going to do a single, double, and triple crochet. If you're already an experienced crocheter, just go ahead and get your project and have some tea with us. So I'm going to have some Earl Grey tea. So you'll be able to see the beautiful long, it's long, which makes this a little bit different. So it's greater gray. You can see the beautiful flowers in there. Okay, so we're just going to pour our hot water in there and let it steep while we do some chains and start our tutorial on doing single, double, triple crochets. All right, so this is some bergamot. Since Earl Grey has bergamot in it, I always like to add an extra drop of food grade essential oils. You have to make sure it's food grade, and we will just set this aside and we'll let that steep while we start our project. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to use this nice color here, and I had just a moment. All right, thank you for waiting for me for just a moment. I know I always have nice music for you for just those instances. So I'm sure I'll find it. But anyway, we're just going to do some chains. I'm just using an oversized hook. This is a 10 millimeter. You definitely don't need that. But for this tutorial, it makes it easier to see. So we're just going to take the end of our yarn, and I am a left-handed crocheter. So if you're right-handed, just reverse it. That's what we left-handers have to do. So I know you can do it too. So we're going to wrap our yarn around twice. And then I pull the back over the front and the back over the front again. And then that looks like that. Okay, that's your slip knot. So we're going to just tighten that up. Doesn't have to be overly tight. And you can turn it around if you prefer. It's kind of, you'll learn what you like to do. But again, the knot is a slip knot. All right, so then we're gonna hold the tail, but I like to hold it in the hand that has the hook. So however you need to just keep it out of the way. And then I'm gonna be very loose for this tutorial. So we're going to crochet chain, which is where we just grab the yarn. So it's on the hook. It helps if you turn it and then pull it through. That's one. Okay, some people start with it already down and just catch it that way. So try different ways to see what's best for you. And there's two. Okay, these are nice and big because I have my 10 millimeter hook. And three. Okay, 10 millimeter hook is an N in US sizes. Okay, and you'll figure out what's best, how to hold your yarn. And this is a nice cotton yarn, so I like to have my hook up. I tend to do, and then turn it and pull it through. But you definitely don't have to do all that movement. Some people start with the hook down and use more their finger to catch it. Okay, so down and around, and they're using more of their hand for that. But the main thing is to go through the loop. Okay, so we're gonna go through the loop that's on the hook right there. Okay, right here. And so you're just gonna pull that yarn through however is most comfortable for you. It does help if you hold your chain, even if you have a tighter chain. So just know you'll figure out what feels best. And when I first started, I can say I probably was gripping this just like when I first learned to drive. I was gripping the wheel white-knuckled so hard because I was concentrating so much, but then you'll learn to loosen up. Okay, so some people hold it like a pencil like this. Some people do hold it more like this or like this. So you'll find what you need. Some people like to use their index finger and kind of be able to manipulate this up and down. Okay, so that would look like this. Okay, so and kind of use that. That's more from knitting. I use that more in knitting than I do in crochet. Crochet, I tend to hold my crochet hook kind of way back here. So that's another way you might want to try. It is good to get comfortable with some different ways, so you might as well do it while you're new, so that none of them feel wrong. Because as you work on a very large project, or if you're working with the very small needles to where you can spend days and only make, a little swatch or hours, then you can hold your needle, hold your hook differently if your hand starts to hurt. Okay, so it's always good to start that right from the beginning. Then it feels natural, and you can just switch it out. So here's our chains. We're not doing any particular project, so we're not worried. But what you can see are there bumps on the top here. And then there's these nice little kind of rope braids on the bottom. Do you see that? And then there's that bump on the back. Okay, so the bump on the back is right there, right there. Okay, so you can get familiar with those three places. You also have a V on the top, okay, which is consisting of two of the threads and a hole, okay? 1, 2, and then your hole. So these are different ways that you might see in patterns. So just wanted to get you familiar with those. All right, now that we're on the blue color, let's go ahead and show single crochet. So single crochet, you have your loop on the hook. You're going to go through, and we're going to keep it where we have our V on top. So we're going to go through the circle. Okay, so there's only one loop underneath here. You're going to go through the circle, grab the yarn, and pull up a loop. You might need to readjust your hands so that they're holding the chain, especially once you get going, it won't be as hard, but at first, the first row is always the hardest, I think. So when you have 2 loops, you're going to yarn over to grab it. However you need to grab it. Maybe it's not yarn over for you, but you need to grab the yarn and pull it through both loops, 1 and 2, and that is your single crochet. Let's do another one. So where is here's our next one. Okay, so you can see there's the 2 at the top and the 1 at the bottom. We're going to put it through the hole, grab the yarn, pull it through the hole, so you have 2 loops we call those loops on the hook. That'll be very important when we get to the double and the triple. And then pull through, yarn over and pull through both loops. Okay, one more time. We're going to find our hole. So here it is, but I want both yarns on the top, and I just am keeping my consistency of going through just the hole of the chain at the bottom. So I'm gonna poke through there and make sure I have my 2 loops on the top, which sometimes if you're using a smaller hook, it will look more like a V. You're gonna grab that yarn. You may need to hold with your thumb, so that hold it tight so you can pull those up evenly. And it is good to make sure that you're working with the roundness of the needle. That's why you have hook. That's why you have the size you do. If you have one on the thinner part and you're pulling tight and one that is the correct size, then you're just making it harder on yourself. So, and especially when you get to the doubles and the triples. So try to keep it, this is a very short shaft. You'll have longer ones, so you don't have to keep an eye on that quite as much. Okay, so we've done 3 single crochets. All right, so now let's go ahead. I'm gonna go a little faster. You can slow down or rewatch this if you need to practice more. Okay, but I'm gonna just do singles across. I gotta hold this down. It's a very ancient craft, so I have some ancient music on. And if you're not sure where to go, just remember you have your ropes on the bottom and you have your bumps on the back. Some people like to count the bumps. Okay, so if that's how you can keep track, but remember we're having, for this demonstration, there's different ways to do it, but you're having 2 loops on the top and you're going through the hole. See the 2 loops, 1, 2, and we're going through the hole there. Okay, single crochet, you got this. And then when you get a little bit faster, single crochet is what a lot of amigurumi, those cute little animals that everyone's doing, you do a lot of single crochet. So it's a good one that I wanted to show you. There's my loop. There's the V on the top. Okay, and we're almost to the end. Great job with that. Sometimes what I do when I'm learning, I will just do that, rip it out, do it again, rip it out, do it again, rip it out. So, you know, you don't, I used to think that was a waste of time, but now I get it, now that I'm doing much more difficult projects. So then what you usually do at the end is, since we're getting ready to do a double next, and you can see how beautiful that is, it'll start to take shape a little bit better as we go, but it's starting to look like something, yay. We're going to chain, sometimes you'll chain 1 at the end, sometimes you'll chain 2, sometimes 3. But we're going to chain 2. So it's usually representative for what your next row is going to be. Our next row is going to be a double, so we're going to chain 2. So it's the height of a double. Okay, 1, 2, height of a double. All right, so then we're going to turn our work. We always do the chain first and then turn. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. You can see how beautiful it's coming together. Okay, I'm gonna smell it. Oh yes, that citrus from that bergamot is just lovely. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this down so I can take a sip of my tea. I actually have to get something for this. All right, so hopefully you were practicing or finishing up or starting over while we were doing that, but just wanted to show you how beautiful that is. Again, I'm very tactile. Perfect temperature. So I do like to look at my tea, touch it, and look at all the pieces and parts in there. A good tea has really nice sized chunk leaves when they open up. So that's one way that you can tell a good tea. Look how big that leaf is there. So that way it has more flavor, more of its like natural oils and things. You can also see what else is in there. Oh, here's that white part. Okay, so that's a nice leaf that's uncurling. Okay, so know that it's okay to touch your food, especially when you have handmade small batch teas, for instance. Look at that, it even still has a stem. Okay, and then feel the texture and just understand what you're putting in your body. Here's a little bud, a leaf bud, so beautiful. Okay, so putting this aside, I can tell you it is a perfect temperature. So we're going to take one more. Remember, we put in the extra oils in here. And it is so perfect. If I am a fan of Earl Grey, I get that it is an acquired taste. Not everybody likes it. But I do love it. So, all right. Now that we have our sips of tea, now what we're going to do is we're going to look for, again, the V's on top. Do you see the V's on top? Okay, right there, right there, right there. That's also how you count your stitches if you had to keep track. Like say it said single crochet 3 from the hook. So you would go, here's the hook, 1, 2, 3. And you might single crochet there. Okay, so that's how you would count, is counting with the V's. We already know single crochet, so try that. Okay, and then that'll leave you a nice little gap that I bet you work in later. Okay, but we're gonna take that out because we are working for row 2. We are doing doubles. So, double crochet. We're going to, let's go ahead and start in this next one here. Okay, that one's already in there, so that'll be like putting 2 together, but then that makes sure that you don't have a gap. So just make sure you're paying attention. We're going to go ahead and use it for the tutorial. So for a double, you can put your hand or your finger on here so you feel like you have some control. We're going to wrap around, go through the hole, the V is on top, grab your yarn so that you have 3 loops, 1, 2, 3. And again, if you have a short staff like I do, make sure you're not down here. They all need to be 10 millimeter. Okay, then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2. So you still have 2 left there. Yarn over, pull through 2. Congratulations, you did a double crochet. Okay, so then we're going to do that again. We're going to yarn over. So you're going to start with the yarn over. Single crochet did not. It went right through the hole, but we're going to do it. Yarn over, pull up a loop. So you grab your yarn. Make sure you have the same height on all 3 of your loops and it's not down here. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. If you need to slow down, stop the video, watch it again, please do. It took me a long time. I know I make it look easy now, but it was very confusing to me, especially learning from a right-handed crocheter and I'm left-handed. It took many books. So I'm yarning over, going through, so I have 2 on top, right? Because I'm going through the hole. Yarn over. So I pull up a loop and I have 3 on there so that I can yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is why you also don't want to be too tight in the beginning. Okay, because you need to be able to see your stitches, count your stitches. If you get too tight, you're not only going to be frustrated with the stitches, but then you're going to be fighting the yarn. It was one of the hardest things. I was way too tight at first. Yarn over, here's my hole there, because you can see the 2 on top. Go through the hole, yarn over, pull, whoops, pull through, 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, I'm going to go a little faster. You can stop the video if you need to go back, rewatch any part. I'm just going to go ahead and finish the row and just rewatch it till you can get the pace that I'm going at. It may take several times. Just be patient with yourself. Once you get it, you will be amazed, but take it slow at first. Make sure you understand what you're doing, where you're going, especially in the very beginning, first couple rows. It can really be confusing because you can't quite see a pattern yet. Okay. And sometimes it may flop over on you, and so don't start working down here or it's going to be twisted, okay? So you have to make sure that it's always correct, okay? Up is up and down is down. We're not doing anything too terribly complicated, trying to reverse or go backwards or anything like that, or drop stitches. That can be scary at first, but in some patterns, like, you have to do that or you don't get the right lace look, right? So great job. I know you can do it. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to answer them. See where you're getting stuck so that I can maybe help with that. It's a way for me to kind of come into your home without coming into your home, right? You don't have to vacuum for me. Oh, see what I did? I didn't yarn over first, but yarn over, and you might do that too. Just hit yourself sooner than later, let me tell you that. Okay, and that's our last one. All right, again, if you aren't quite there, that's fine. Pause the video, go back and rewatch it. Listen to me talk while you're doing it. We have some nice V's forming. Like I said, as soon as you get going, you'll start to see, it'll start to form for you. So I didn't even know how many we have. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How did we do that? I don't know. I did not plan that. All right, so another thing to help you is that for your yarn is I like to go around my pinky twice. This is just more for tension. It's a little advanced. Then I like to have my ring finger and my index finger underneath and my middle finger kind of holding the tension. Okay, so it looks like that. Okay, so you can decide what works best for you. Remember, we haven't turned yet, so since we're going to do a triple this time, we are going to do 3 chains before we turn. 1, 2, 3, because we want to be the height of whatever our next row is. 1, 2, 3. When you stand that up, it's the height of the next row. So we're gonna turn and we're gonna go, I'm left-handed, so I'm working to the right. If you're right-handed, you are going to be working to your left, and that is okay. All right, you can still follow along. There's been plenty of things I've learned from a right-handed crocheter, and I just had to mentally think about reversing it, and I was able to, with some practice, do that. So what we're gonna do with a triple is we're going to wrap twice. 1, 2. Okay, so you already have 3 on your hook because we wrapped twice and we already had 1. And we're gonna go through the hole, again, keeping the V on top. You're going to yarn over, pull up a loop so that you have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure they're all on the, I'm using the 10 millimeter, but you decide what you're using. Okay. And you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you can adjust your thumb and how you're holding it. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. Okay, and that is your triple. Look at how beautiful that is. Okay, let's try it again. Here's our hole. We're finding it first. Okay, so we're yarn over twice. So we have 3 to begin with. Think of 3 triple. Okay, 3 is triple. Go through the hole, grab your yarn, and pull up. Make sure you're holding it. That'll help you so that you can pull up with your hook if you need to keep them all the same. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And yarn over, pull through 2. Because we do that 3 times, that's what makes it a triple. Okay. And again, this is really, really loose, but it's a great way for you to see. So we got, isn't that beautiful how it forms that shape? Okay, so you keep going, listen to the music, and I'm gonna breathe a meditative breathe. I'm gonna breathe in and breathe out. Relax those shoulders. Sometimes when we're learning something new, we tense up. Okay, so, put your shoulders up and down, close to your ears and drop them. Roll your neck around. I know you can't see me, but you know what I'm talking about. And stand up if you need to. Okay, so we don't want to hold any tension when we're learning something new. Make sure that you're dropping your jaw. If your tongue is at the roof of your mouth, you're dropping that. Open your mouth really wide so that you don't, if you hold tension in your jaw. And just keep going. Okay, ready? I'm going around twice. Going through. Pick up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This music's perfect for that. So I'm going to be quiet for now. You can go back and rewatch the beginning if you need me to talk you through. I'm going to be quiet and we can do this to the beat of the music. Okay, and we're at our end here. Do you see how nice that's building? So for now, let's take a look at it. We're gonna just drop this down and look at our singles and our doubles. Okay, so we had our chain here. Those are those loops. And if you kind of move it around, people, I know I was so scared to like touch my work, and it really kind of needs it sometimes, okay? So feel free to, kind of stretch it in different directions. I waited way too long till I felt comfortable doing that. So let's look at what we have. All right, so we have our tail. Okay, that's how we started. Yarn over to make our slip right there. We're gonna weave that in later, but it's a nice short one, so that's good. So we have our chain here. We have our single crochet here and here. Do you see the singles? Here and here. Single, single, single. Okay, then we have our doubles. Our double started with the double chain. So it was the same height. There's our double. You can see it. The different colors might show it to you in a little bit different. That one shows it to you really well. Okay, so those are our doubles. That's what a double looks like. Kind of slants because of how this goes over. Okay, but it's too high. It's two chains high. All right, and look at this nice chain that we're making here in between here. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we have our triple. So we, over here, it'll be this side for you if you're right-handed, but over here we did our 3 chain. Okay, 1, 2, 3, so that we could make some triples. Okay, so this is what a triple looks like. Remember we stayed in that, this is what it looks like when you stay in the same, you use that very first loop. Remember how I said I wanted to make sure I didn't have a gap there in the beginning, so that's why these two are together, kind of forming, and as you go along, if you did all just triples, you'd have a nice edge. Okay, so hopefully you can see that, how that might come out. All right, so a lot of sometimes it's imagining, right? How it's gonna look like later. Love these here. We have a nice solid foundation here, and then it starts to get more airy up here, right? So this is gonna be very dense, things that you don't want see-through. You can use single crochets. If you want it to be a little lacier like a shawl, you can use your doubles or your triples. Okay, and then of course we have our V's here. 1, 2, I'll pinch them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have one on the end. Anyway, so those are your next row of chains. So where you would go in, regardless of if you're going to start over and practice with your singles again, you would, if you're going to continue the way we've been doing it, you're going to go through there, there, make sure you're catching both of them, so you have your V right there. There. Can you see if you pulled this really tight, how hard that would be to see and to, see where you're at, to see what you're doing, and then you're just fighting it the whole time. So we want this to be relaxing and something that you enjoy doing, and you enjoy having just fiber in your hands and putting your phone down and actually concentrating, maybe just listening to someone who's talking through a pattern or explaining what they're working on. But yeah, you can see how beautiful it is as if you want to start over with the singles, doubles, and then triples. Or if you want to keep doing triples, or if you feel like you got that but doubles are still throwing you off, you could just do all doubles. And then show me your project. Let me know how you did, and if you have any questions. Thanks for joining in.